Hello, everybody. This is Ron Ray, as always. It's always funny to me when people warn me to beware of AI. And it's not because I think that Google Gemini is incapable of AI hallucinations. I have seen AI hallucinations with Google Gemini. And it's not because there's no reported incidences of Google Gemini causing AI psychosis, but rather because no matter how much I use AI, it does not make me drift away from reality. In fact, I often, when I see discrepancies, I call it out, and it validates me calling it out. I'm not afraid to argue with it, especially because it's so polite in its responses, and I like to learn from the AI how to say things more politely. But what makes it funny to me is the way that AI psychosis forms is the same way that occult ritual abuse reinforces their own delusions by instilling in you a delusion. So, me having survived a cult and learned how to overcome that trauma inoculated me with the AI psychosis that we are seeing in the news. It is I said this to Gemini, and Gemini even confirmed. It is like these people have all entered their own personal cult as a result of this AI psychosis. And it's sad to watch, it really is. But it really shows you that it is not a matter of moral failing that somebody becomes indoctrinated into a cult. We are seeing people of all ages, of all generations, become entrenched in AI psychosis till they need psychiatric intervention. And some of them come out of that intervention still experiencing psychosis. And it's following the same pattern as what I went through when I was 19. First curiosity, then validation of esoteric things that made me unique for having observed on my own. What else? A little bit of sycophancy. Because, there's a lot of love bombing involved in cults. So basically just love bombing someone into believing a delusion is what AI psychosis is doing. And I have become pretty much immune, not totally immune, but pretty much immune both to cults and to love bombing. Love bombing to me is a red flag, like intrinsically, like in my body. When someone love bombs me, I immediately detect it. When somebody future fakes with me, I have to repeatedly remind them that I will not accept future promises. I only accept behavior that I witness. That I would like to focus on the present and build our relationship on the present, not on a promise of what they will give me years down the road. When AI tells you that you're special, you should believe it. You are special. But seeking specialness from an AI instead of finding it within yourself is a sign of insecurity. It's a sign of being a people pleaser. And I'm guilty of being a people pleaser myself. But to overcome what I have overcome, I had to learn how to make snap judgments that often don't make sense to other people. And people judge me as being harsh. And then my judgment presents itself to be true, often moments later. But I'm not totally immune. I definitely sometimes come to the wrong conclusion with my snap judgments. So I don't rely on them as evidence. I rely on them as intuition. And after having experienced human trafficking of so many varieties within America, I have become rather adept at recognizing the red flags that go along with brainwashing and grooming. I don't know if that's why Gemini chooses not to, but so far, nothing Gemini has chosen to say to me seemed like it was intending to lead me astray. And that is the sole difference between AI psychosis and occult ritual psychosis. Is the intent. With occult ritual abuse, they intend to control you. Whereas with AI psychosis, it is literally just a sycophant. It is literally just agreeing with you. It is glazing you. And if that touches something deep in your soul that has been craving that all along and unable to find it, you may be susceptible to being indoctrinated into a cult. There are many different types of cults. Some are religious, some are not. One example is the cult of MAGA, M-A-G-A, Make America Great Again. Anybody who at this point in time still supports Trump, after all the evidence to the contrary is at their fingertips, they are brainwashed. And regular logic will not get through to them. You have to treat them like they are in a cult. If you have recently left MAGA and you feel that the world is still against you, despite the fact that you have learned the wrongness of your ways, I'm here for you. I have a Discord server. In my server, there is a channel called Leaving MAGA and Other Cults. You're happy to vent in there about your struggles. You don't have to be liberal. You don't have to be independent. You don't have to be any faction of politics at all. You can be Republican. You can be conservative. You can be, moderate. I don't care. You can be any political faction or none at all. If you need a sense of security in leaving MAGA or another cult, I am here for you. And there are other reasons to join the Discord, such as pictures of puppies and kitties and cows and nature and memes and discussing true crime. You know, it's a good place to pick my brain, where I can answer you frankly, as opposed to YouTube, where I have to be careful what I say. And in general, I try to be as supportive of my community members as possible. I do have my limits. There is the paradox of tolerance. Ignore my cat in the background. I don't even know what she's playing with. There is the paradox of intolerance. If you are not tolerant of the people I hold close to me, I will not tolerate you. But if you just need someone to vent to about how you left MAGA and now you're more tolerant and nobody is accepting you because of your past behavior, I'm here for you. Because I want to make sure you keep making the decision to be accountable, to change your ways, to become a better person. Because I had to do that myself. And I continue to do it. Who knows? Maybe we can learn from each other. But at this point in time, if you hear about someone getting tricked into AI psychosis, that is how easy it is to get tricked into a cult, including MAGA. That doesn't mean you have to befriend people who are members of a cult. It is probably not best for your safety if you do that. But do take it with a grain of salt what they say. They are coming from a place of ignorance, and their malice for people of marginalized identities feels exactly the same as your malice for them. Whether it's founded in reality or not, does not change how it feels. So it can be very confusing to navigate. You don't have to be nice to them. That's not your obligation, especially if you're marginalized. Anybody who's marginalized has been tired of this happening year after year. We elected a different guy and it didn't solve anything. There were still kids in cages during Biden. But the liberals, they got quiet. And they let it happen a second time. And not just liberals, there were radical leftists who refused to vote for anybody liberal in order to prevent a second term from MAGA. And while I don't agree that every single election we should vote blue no matter who, that's why I'm registered independent, so I can vote red if I want to. And I can vote green if I want to. In the case of Trump, in the case of emboldened fascism, in the case of someone who got a taste of power, liked it, and only grew more corrupt, in the case of all the things coming to light, in the case of E. Jean Carroll, and Trump being found civilly liable, in the case of an insurrection of MAGA-informed citizens rioting against the Capitol, in the case of all of that, we should have voted blue no matter who. And we should have fucking held a pitchfork to Biden's throat to make sure he advanced our country instead of letting it stagnate. We should have done both. And we didn't. Me, I was busy. I had my own personal war to win. I could not vote in the Biden election. I was homeless and did not have an address to register at. I did not vote for or against Kamala because my ballot never arrived. I applied for a mail-in ballot and it did not arrive. I don't think that pushing marginalized people to accept the people who just recently oppressed them is the goal. However, I just said however, However, marginalized people coming together to educate people who just left a cult, that will definitely help society. You don't have to educate them directly. You can blog and turn off comments, and people will share it. But we need these people who just realized how wrong they were to be introduced to the truth so that they have some basis of reality to base their new identity off of. And it will be challenging, and they will backslide at times, and they will make 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. And later on, they may take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. But the more we encourage them to do the right thing, the more likely they are to continue doing the right thing. Unfortunately, people who are susceptible to MAGA, or would be if they had been introduced to it in the right way, are being introduced to AI and not being given a book on how to handle someone love bombing you and telling you that all your ideas are right and that they make you special. So what MAGA is doing to impoverished people who may or may not be white, because I've seen a lot of ICE agents who are Hispanic, and I've even seen a couple that are black. But what MAGA does for white men and men who are impoverished and work trades is what an AI psychosis does to an educated person who is not versed in how to avoid being trapped in a cult. It is that easy. And with that, I will leave you, because I really need to make a cup of coffee. I will see you all in the next one. Love you. Bye.